So last week we understood that association of this body and the mind with any object starts the action. And just now I started speaking. My body and mind association with you both started an action. Here comes the mind. Mind first looks, perceives. It's a neutral perception. I come to your house and you introduce me to your friend over here. Huh? It's a neutral perception. How? Hey, how are you? Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. But the mind keeps looking, mind keeps perceiving thoughts, feeling, way of talking, behavior. And based on the past impression, mind says, I like you or I dislike you. It happens every moment. No person in the world can say that the mind does not have a preference of liking or dislike. Even if there are two people, the mind has already made up those impressions of likes and dislikes. And from the likes and dislikes, there is an attachment and detachment. From the attachment and detachment, you have a desire. You are not aware of it. The mind already had a desire. So when it happens, I would say when it happens, if I use the word instantly, what do you say? I have a crush on you. In the mind, the very process has completed very fast. And when you have a crush on you, you will definitely be crushed. That is a fact of life. For the last 43 years, I have coached couples, relationship, challenges. I have coached executives. I have mentored and coached Google employees, also the Microsoft. This is what happens. You don't express it, and it happens in the organization where you are an employee, between the employee and the employer. Not only it happens between the husband and the wife, soulmate, and etc., etc. It happens between the parents and the children. So we have come to the mind. Now understand that this has happened unconsciously, habitually, impulsively, instinctively. And then I start speaking out of it. So the moment I speak, what lies, what happened to me unconsciously, impulsively, that is the nature of the animal mind. At the same time, the real self is of the nature of peace and happiness. But mind does not know it. Mind goes by preferences, likes and dislikes, attachment and detachment. That is a misunderstanding, or you can say calculated by the mind. That is what the ignorance is. Expanding further, all living beings are seekers of peace and happiness. You touch a fly that is sitting on your shoulder. Fear runs away. Mosquito. You see any living being. You have a plant growing, and then you have some barrier. It finds the way. All animals are also seekers of peace and happiness, but they are limited, they are controlled, they are governed by the nature. Their mind is not conscious. They are intelligent, but still they are not conscious. They do not have the intellect that is free, which can think, which can observe, make a choice, except the human being, from where the spirituality begins. No, no, I did not understand this. Oh, let us understand by an example. I have given that example many times. The tiger is hungry. He jumps onto the tree that is full of fruits. Animal mind means controlled by the nature. So he does not have a conscious choice to see fruits are there. Fruits are for eating, for food. Why am jumping onto the tree which is full of fruits and watching the prey? I won't dare. Tiger never says, this tree, I will not allow anyone to approach this tree because it will help me feed myself for a couple of weeks. So the tiger does not eat grass. It is automatic. Cows does not eat flesh. So when we look at both, we say, okay, deer is very good, tasty. So the fruits are also. We have a choice. We can exercise our choice. But my friends, what happens? The mind is already filled with, has accumulated so many likes and dislikes. It takes over the intellect and it does not allow the intellect to make a choice. And then we sing a song. Don't you remember, honey? I had a crush on you for the first time. Why? Because I loved you. No, there is no love. It is all attachment. So now the intellect sings the tune of the mind, animal mind. That is the problem. And then we have a suffering. It may be anxiety. It may be, we can say, relationship problem. It may be a long list of the humanity. Do you see that? See that clearly. Why you to see that clearly the next time you are talking to anyone? Now, honey, maybe anyone. I'm leaving an option. Don't think about your pets. Human relationship. Honey can be anyone. The mind has taken over the intellect. Now, intellect proves why I liked you because I had a crush. It stops thinking I had a crush that was unconscious, impulsive. I have to think. I have to think and make a right choice. I had one couple here. Husband is internationally famous. Wife is taking marijuana every day. So my need, they booked me. and they both are fighting before me in my absence. So, because the mind has taken over the intellect, and the intellect puts the reasoning based on this crush. But it's very quite interesting to know that they have been together for the last 22, 23 years, and they are still fiancé to each other. They have two kids. They have to yet to finalize whether they are going to marry or not. So you see, the mind is full of guys. That mind taken over the intellect does not allow to take a decision. So now see, let me expand it. For this mind, which has a liking and disliking because of association of anything, any gadget or any person in the world, finds, proves, rationalizes, thinks that peace and happiness is outside. And it has taken over the intellect, so intellect always poses the same argument, same thoughts. So I live in ignorance because intellect is not allowed to know and understand and think and reflect that peace and happiness are within me. It is not outside. The husband told me that they have recently bought a good house here, big house. My target is $10 million. I said it may happen maybe in 1 year or 2 years. It is your program in the future. What about now? What you are going to do with the $10 million? You don't have a peace in your life. We think that we are accumulating peace and happiness by working. That means action, and that action is directed either to make an effort to earn money and to use that money for pleasure. I asked him, is this statement true? I said, very good. Then my next question, how much you have accumulated peace and happiness during the last 20 years of your profession? You had a big house, you have a very small mind that blames and complains. What the big house will do? For the $10 million, can it buy peace and happiness? No, I know it. I said, no, you do not know it. That's why you do not implement it. So here comes this solution. The master says, understand this desire. First group of desire is a must for everyone, every living being. When we go to Home Depot or Lowe's, we read this plant needs sunlight regularly. Means the plants have a food by the process of photosynthesis. So desire for the physical needs are very well defined: food, shelter, clothes. But human being, professional needs. I must need a best computer. I need a internet connection to give all the lessons virtually. Like this. So desire for physical needs is a must. And to fulfill that physical needs, I must work. The twofold activities. One action is earning, making an effort. Earning comes in one activity, and using that earning to meet the physical needs, there is no problem. Do we have a problem for food? No. Do we have a problem for clothes? No. That's the beauty of this country also, in a way, that you can avail the same kind of food and same kind of clothes and car, all the professional needs easily if you are working. It's not a big deal. As a human being, we should make a right choice, and we must fulfill the desire for physical needs. Plus, I can say professional needs. Needs. And remove inside any fantasy that this will give me pleasure. You see that? Let me like a particular food that I like. Let me eat it with my available resources. But if I get obsessed with a particular food, that means I'm seeking a pleasure out of the food, and that desire is causing a problem. So Master says, drop all the desires from your head that is seeking pleasure from the world outside, because happiness is not there outside. I loved you so much, honey, 20 years ago. Now what happened? Now the love has dried up. You have changed a lot. And your honey says, you have also changed a lot. Why you don't live in the same state of crush? See that? So we have to drop all these desires, seeking pleasure, peace, happiness from the world outside. So you are able to break the world of samsara, the world that we covered last week. Cycle, wheel of huh? We love, likes and dislikes, attachment and detachment, desire, then pain and pleasure, then victory and defeat, and long list. We covered last 2 weeks. You are able to break it. The moment you break inside, I can tell you that your mind is now free. It is always steady. It is always focused. Whatever it does with the focus. First is the desire for physical needs. We must work. We must work. So work means work gives you the reward. And with that reward, you can meet the basic needs. Second desire is to drop all the desires in my head in the form of a thought, feeling that is seeking peace and happiness from the world outside. By understanding, by thinking. Then only we are a seeker. Then the third desire comes, desire for peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. Your mind goes within and it finds that sense of insecurity, unhappiness, dissatisfaction is because of seeking the pleasure from outside. Otherwise, there is no need of insecurity. So, then you start the journey. You fix the goal that peace and happiness are within. Me and I have to discover that peace and happiness within by following these principles and practices. Once the mind goes within that very center, which triggers you to keep that wheel of life, wheel of samsara in the world, suffering with opposite tendencies drops by itself. I have one more client. He is in his 30s, 32, 33. In an accident, he lost two legs, prosthetic. I think I told you before also, for the last, he attended my program for the 6 months in a group session. Now he's having a private lesson. I could never feel and even imagine such a smart guy has no legs, always bubbling with the energy. And he said, I was so much because of disability, I was feeling so much frustrated. I attended your program, I left drinking. Even he dropped MBA program, which was sponsored by his organization. He's a senior manager. So I said, why you left it? I started thinking. I had 20 people from my organization who were doing. So I said, then why you left it? No, everyone is talking about competition and jealousy, and then I will make 5 million, then I will be happy. So I said, how long I want to live into that environment? So after leaving that, he started joining my desire to drop. Those desires must be dropped in my thought, in my head, that is seeking peace and happiness from the world outside. It may be my honey, it may be my parents, it may be my father, it may be my son, it may be anyone in the world. I will be happy after 5 years once I have $1 million and I die tomorrow then. So that's a hard statement, but the fact is, this is where the master takes us to. Master says peace and happiness, love and wisdom are all here and now. It is not in the future. It had never been in the past that we already have an experience. Break all the barriers of the mind. Move the mind within. Move the mind within. You see, again, you can prove it. You can prove it. What you can prove in your life, that peace and happiness is here. It is not in the future. Peace and happiness are here and now. It is not in future. We think why we think that it is in future? Wheel of life that I covered in the last two sessions. I like, I'm attached, then I have a desire. So desire, then I must work. So my intention of my desire to be happy by having $1 million, one option. Desire to work with focus, with commitment and sincerity will definitely bring the reward. I am working with a higher level of awareness. So obviously it has to bring its reward. If my head is very clear, focused, sincere, commitment, I will excel in my profession. I don't have any issue with anyone. I don't have, if people have the problem with me, that is their outlook. Sanjay Sharma sent an email with lot of good words that you already know, with lot of abusive insult, and I said, I'm not going to respond to him. Finished. Simple. Why? I don't desire peace and happiness from outside. I don't even desire that everyone should appreciate. Why? So the mind remains focused. You can prove that in your life by changing our behavior and attitude. You change the mind, you change the mind, it changes the brain. You change the brain, it changes your behavior and attitude. You change your behavior and attitude, it changes your personality. You change your personality, you think, speak, and act differently in your personal, professional, social life. Then what happens? You are already very near to the discovery of peace and happiness. There are other points that we will take up, so let us close your eyes. We will start our journey. We'll do a small practice.